Yep, Class from the Elite Season 4. It's finally here. And I want to simply talk about this because this one dropped not just one episode, but four brand spanking new episodes in one day. And as a result of these four new episodes dropping, there have been people online that have either loved the hell out of the show, that think that this is now like the best of the best that the show and the franchise to offer, but then there are some that are a little mixed about it. And why I wish to talk about this now is because I think that for me, after watching this entire show, getting it like it to linger on for just a little bit, I think that this is like a pretty good start in my opinion. But for those who are really mixed about the show, I now understand like why that's the case because immediately the first thing that I want to throw out there right out the way is the animation, which I don't want to piss off any Klaus from the Leaf fans right now, but I think this is probably the weakest animation that the show has to offer. Hey, call me crazy. I'm not trying to like piss off so many people right now, but like I said, when you compare the animation apples to apples from this season to the third season, which came out not too long ago, mind you, and season two to an extent, which came out back in 2022, you really have your competition out for you in terms of what's the best quality animated show out there in this series. So again, there were moments in the show where animation wise it was low quality. There were moments where it felt unfinished. It felt like it wasn't fully completed. The colors half the time weren't really connecting with some of them. It felt like we were getting a lot of weight put into a lot of the characters and the color schemes, if that makes sense. So a lot of like what makes Classroom Elite stand out and pop out is like the color red. And for some reason, they kind of switched it and put it with like this white-ish with other color schemes here. I don't know. It feels like sometimes it's complete, but then it's incomplete, but then it just feels like it wasn't fully drawn out too well. And there are moments where like the animation was like still images and it felt like we were getting close to like a PowerPoint presentation type of moment. But again, close. It wasn't like all the time, but there were moments where it felt like it, if that makes sense. So yeah, animation for sure. I feel like is maybe the weakest that the series has to offer thus far. But let's talk about the positive points, right? It's not all bad despite that, right? What matters is the story, where it left off, right? And I feel like the story from these four episodes that was being portrayed, I think they captured it super, super well. I also appreciate that they dropped four episodes in one day to showcase, like, okay, this is like what's setting the stage, setting the theme, where now we have Ayanokoji, who in his second year, first semester, he now has to, once again work with his class to make sure that they all pass and move on to the next big exam, what have you. And in this, which was hinted back in the final couple episodes of the third season, Ayana Koji is being targeted by someone who was an ex White Room member. And Ayana Koji unfortunately now has to identify the ex White Room member to the point that they even hinted at that this person has been able to blend in so well that it can basically be anybody at this point. Not just from the new class members from Class D, but it could be anyone from the class. So now we have not only Ayano Koji trying to survive the school that he's been trying to survive the past three seasons, but also we're seeing Ayano Koji trying to figure out and break down who is the White Room member trying to go out for him before he loses the game that was started by the new headmaster of said school. The story is really good. I love it. I think that it's starting off really strong since season two, in my opinion. And season two was probably the best that the show had to offer in all its glory, all its storytelling. And again, the newest characters in the show within the new brand spanking new first year students was really nice. But I also want to throw in another spitball in this. I'm sorry, I gotta throw this in there. The new character Hosen, who is this big, rough, gruff, white haired dude. Again, voice acting for the show I appreciate and I love, and Hosen really comes off as menacing, similar to Ryuin for to an extent. But man, Hosen's like ideology, his thinking process, I think so far I think this guy's an idiot, man. I'm sorry. I think that he is such an idiot for the fact that like he comes off the gate swinging, where he's going to a school where there's so many people that are like smarter and more powerful than him. And his first instinct is like, yeah, I'm gonna threaten the shit out of all the people in my new first year students and everyone else, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna pass this first class and not have anyone pair up because no, 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 I don't trust anybody. And then in the final moments of like the fourth episode, which I don't want to spoil for the sake of spoiling, like Hosen had like this huge scheme to like try to like frame Ayanokoji as someone that's like a fucking bad person in that fourth episode, and it goes off like I guess like really well. Like in my opinion, that was like a pretty good shocking twist in a way. But if you kind of know how the show goes at this point, it is kind of sort of predictable when you look at it in the finer lens of things. But I don't know. I think Hosen's story is like why he enacted that first plan, just threatening so many people and acted like the tough guy in the first place. I just think it was super dumb, and I think like this guy is like one of the dumbest characters I've come across so far in this season. But from what I can understand, he does get better progressively, and he's like much more wittier, much more smarter, and actually a lot more cunning, arguably, than Ryuin himself. But we'll have to wait and see again, right? But despite those issues and my praises, I think the show's still really good. I think it's continuing the momentum that Classroom Elite was known for up until this point, and I can't really say anything else other than that. These four episodes were really good. It started off really strong. I do think that there might be like a part two to this since it is framed as like second year first semester. So I'm assuming the next season is going to be second year second semester. But either way, it started off really good, really strong, and it's leaving me hooked nonetheless with where it's leaning towards. And again, I think that's about it. Classroom Release Season 4, really good. Definitely a must watch if you like the first two seasons or the last two seasons prior and are just hooked on the show up to this point. Is it the best that Classroom Release has to offer? Unfortunately, at the moment, it's hard to say, but from the starting episodes, it might be up there, but we'll just have to wait and see, though. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you on the next one later.